Denver Broncos Mile High View. No commercials, none of that freaking John Elway paid for platform bullshit. Anybody around the league that wants to really know what's going on with the Denver Broncos, you came to the right channel. And you don't have to worry. We're not gonna be polishing turds here, making up stuff and pounding our chest. We want a playoff. We want a preseason game. Kind of reminds you of Minnesota, the Minnesota of last year, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about, this is the shuffle off to Buffalo edition. We're going to talk about the Justin Simmons getting everybody around the league agreeing with us. Imagine that. And we're going to talk about last week's game. We did a lot of film. We did a lot of film study on last week's or just the last game with Dallas. We also watched Buffalo, looked at Buffalo, and we're going to talk about Buffalo in this too. We're going to talk about, I guess, all the paid platforms are out crying a river. Let me just put this out there to all you turd polishers out there in the 8 platforms, on the John Elway payroll. We're not paid. We have our own income. So we tell it like it is, good, bad, and indifferent. And of course, they don't like hearing the bad. It's always this, And they're all butthurt that the rest of the league, and this goes to the Pro Bowl, but this also about Justin Simmons. But this also speaks to this all-pro nonsense, the whole all-pro. You want to talk about popularity contest. I'd say the all-pro nominations are a farce. We don't know who they are. We know that most of them are sports writers, but we don't know who all these mystery coaches, mystery players, because for some reason it contradicts what the actual peers. So why don't you explain this ranking dropping? What is this actually? What is it that they're who's making the call on who gets picked? So why don't you go and talk about this latest Justin Simmons travesty? Go ahead.
Well, the latest Justin Tony Lily Simmons travesty is what I predicted would happen to him, because he's not the best safety in the league. He's not even a top 5 safety. So you got to put that to rest.
I would say he's top 10, but go ahead.
The NFL Top 100 is a voting system of football peers around the National Football League. All 31 other teams outside of Denver, they vote.
Okay, so can I stop you? Does this absolutely exclude sports writers and
TV
personnel, all that bullshit? Yeah. Go ahead.
It is all players that vote. It's not media personality. It's not these unnamed coaches or anonymous coaches or coordinators or sports writers that we get from the all-pro system. No, this is a plethora of players around the National Football League that vote on this. And you guys are wrong once again. Just like I predicted, he fell 41 spots roughly, give or take. And that's a far cry from what he was last year. And I said last year he wasn't even in the top 45. Justin Simmons, to me, isn't a top 100 player. To me, I don't. He's a top 100. If they were doing a top 100 players of good, TV personalities, okay, Justin Simmons would be number 1 in that aspect. But this isn't about TV personalities and interviews and all this bullshit game host shit. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what the film shows and the play on the field. And the play on the field of Justin Simmons, even at training camp, and I sent you multitude of videos, and you have fans that are agreeing with you when you're putting it on your channel, that it's so funny that these teams continue to attack his side of the field, but they barely attack Kareem Jackson's side of the field, and they always pass in the middle of the field. That is a correlation between the safety play and the terrible linebacker play that we'll get into later. But that's a direct correlation to how shit this defense is going to be this year.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that you have eight platforms, in my opinion, without a doubt, paid for and towing the John Elway media bullshit line. Okay, I just want to show how there's only one person who correctly called out Justin Simmons in those platforms. That was Chad Brown. Had the balls, and I'll give him balls for defying John Elway. I just want to name a couple names here. One is Bernard Jackson. Okay, I don't know if you so-called cheerleaders out there calling yourselves fans know that name. And then there's Billy Thompson. Okay, again, I don't know if you cheerleaders out there that call yourself fans, you're disgusting, first of all, even know who those people are. But you have these 8 platforms literally trashing these former players out who these weren't television personalities. Can I just want to say something? I and you, we both do not hate Justin Simmons, the man. We want nothing but the best for Justin Simmons, the man. He's good looking, charisma. The guy could be a game show host. He's a made-for-TV guy. I mean, let's just put football up to the side. I'll give John Elway this. He understands media and how to work media, how to bullshit, spin, PR. He's got that down. I mean, I wish he didn't have that down and he was that good at actually building a football team. But since he's not good at building a football team, but he's good at building bullshit, Justin Simmons, he absolutely fits the made-for-TV game show host, press conference, prostitute. I mean, he's a TV guy. You could just get him cut out of just get him off the field and you could put him in the broadcast booth and he would be great. And I think the NFL would like to see him in that broadcast booth role. In all that, in media, Justin Simmons is a king among all safeties, almost all players. He's just got that made-for-TV personality. But we're talking football here. And what did we see right when they were just relentlessly going after him, right? TV personality doesn't save you on the field. Just get that as a player. Everybody around the league knows about Justin Simmons. Every offensive corner is targeting him. Contrary to 8 platforms of bullshit, I want to say this. You had 8 platforms just crying. He's disrespectful. The main guy who's in the middle, the epicenter of one of the worst Broncos. This is the worst Broncos we've had since the AFL days. They seem to keep forgetting that. That's why we are so upset, me and you. And all the Kool-Aid drinkers want to do is drink their Kool-Aid and believe fairy tales, that there's something that they're not. The Broncos are the worst they've been since the AFL days, and John Elway is absolutely responsible for that. They're talking about disrespecting Justin Simmons. I want to tell you a guy who got disrespected. He helped his team get into the playoffs, and in the playoffs, he was a major factor at getting his team to the Super Bowl. And does he even get an honorable mention for that? This guy's busting his ass and making a difference on the field. No, that's disrespect. When you do that, Justin Simmons isn't even Justin Simmons. The only people that are the media. The media. That's just it. It's just the media. You can bust your ass. I guess it doesn't matter to the NFL as long as you're a TV personality. Yeah, that's what I think the NFL is getting so broken. And I stand up for players like that. I don't care if they're on another team. I'm talking about Jesse Bates. I'm talking about Jesse Bates. I mean, that guy was totally disrespected. Totally. I mean, he actually showed up. He put it out on the field. No, he's not a TV personality. Okay, I'm sorry. He's the actual player that gets it done. And then you said somebody just got a big contract that actually deserved it.
Yeah, his name is Derwin James, who I did film review on my other channel before it got banned because it was my fault. But let me just say this. Derwin James is a guy that is the best safety in the AFC West. It's not even close. When he's on the field, he's a better safety than Justin Simmons. I already proved that. And I don't, you know what, with Derwin James, he's a guy that when he's not on the field, the defense suffers a little bit in the back end. But when he's on the field, that back end is locked and secured. Just like Jesse Bates, just like Mika Fitzpatrick with the Steelers, who I feel might get disrespected.
Yeah, yeah.
Marcus Williams for the Baltimore Ravens, who I think is going to have the best secondary in football. You have all Justin Reed now with the Chiefs. These players that go under the radar, and then they prop up this guy in Justin Simmons, who is a great TV personality. And then you have these 8 other channels, these 8 other prostitute channels that want to proclaim that Justin Simmons is on par or better than the great Dennis Smith, who should be in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's blasphemous. That's absolutely blasphemous. Yeah, Justin Simmons, you ain't going to get to the Hall of Fame. You'll be in the Hall of Fame of television personalities. I'll give you that. But you're not going to, nobody's going to allow you to no, it's not going to happen. So I want to go back. Speaking of taking a look back, like we said, we were looking at training camp, all the videos that came out that they didn't want to show you, but we provided it for you. Play after play after play, and Simmons getting, just abused out there. You just made a great video that, of course, Kool-Aid drinking Kool-Aid country doesn't want to take a look at. And I would like Bills fans, if you're here, any other fans, to take a look at this Baron Browning nonsense. Again, 8 prostitute turd polishers, claiming that somehow, let's get the gold jacket ready for Browning. And then, you said that hand-selected people get the all-22, and then they just show a cherry-picked clip, and then try to build a story around a cherry-picked clip. Where when you did that video with Baron Browning, it was play after play after play, series after series after series. We give the whole story. We're transparent. As we're not just sitting here talking. We're bringing you video. And they do not want to see that video. And that's the shame. That's why these people are toxic. That's why they're really, really, they're hurting this franchise, because nobody's holding these fuckers accountable. Nobody. We have a front office that should have been fired a long time ago. But we won last week. We won. Okay. Yeah, okay. When you go and take a look at that video, they're lucky that game went the way. They're lucky because basically you have players lining up. They can't even line up correctly. A flag is thrown because of their stupidity every other play. But when they weren't committing a foul, they had no problem moving the ball or stopping the Broncos running game. I'll give them the Broncos this. They were able to get some passes off, but had this team not screwed around like Minnesota did last year, in a way it was kind of worse this year with Dallas, because they actually played pretty good when they weren't screwing up. They were just gashing the Denver Broncos. You're not going to get that next week. You're not going to get a quarterback who can't figure out that he's got wide open guys. Thank you, Denver Broncos, for being so soft. But granted, it's preseason. I understand. That's why we're not, thumping chests and stuff like this. We're just telling you what we saw. But I would encourage anybody. I'll put a link to your video on the channel. I would have anybody, especially if you're not a Broncos fan, you want to check out what the Broncos really are. Check the film out. You can see for yourself. Matter of fact, I challenged the Cincinnati fans. Went to the message board. I said, we'll take James. We'll take, we'll take Bates. We'll take Bates. You can have Justin Simmons. Take that big contract, all that. If you think, but I would suggest, as Cincinnati, if you take a look at that game that Justin Simmons had against you, that passes his top 5. And I can show you 10 other games that are just like it. 10 different teams. That crap passes for top 5. So that's bad. We'll go back to the Justin Simmons. That's what everybody sees. everybody that's not paid for, Elway paid for platform. That's what they see. That's what they know. And that's why they keep going after it to that side of the field. So tell me what you saw, because I asked you to do the Browning, this whole notion that Browning, let's get him fit for the gold jacket, moving him outside. Why don't you break that down for anybody that has the guts to listen to it?
Well, I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think a lot of people have the guts to watch that video, and it shows on my channel right now. People are refusing to look at that video because it shows something that the 8 other platforms won't show you. And this goes directly to the 6 other guys around him. They're refusing to talk about that defensive line and how poor it was against the Cowboys. So let's just get that out of the way. But going back to the Baron Browning point, what I saw out of the Baron Browning video is a guy that is not a natural born outside linebacker consistently. And what do I mean by that? They Justin Hollins his ass. What do I mean by that too? They put him out of position because they want to be as stubborn as all hell and prove a point that he's an outside linebacker, which he is absolutely not. I challenged a bunch of fans, guys like Wanu's, the Arianas of the world, the list goes on and on and on of these slink away artists, that I asked them, can you provide me film of Baron Browning playing outside linebacker at college? Not highlight reels. I'm talking about consistent outside linebacker film reviews. Nobody's been able to.
Or even just a game, just a game that's online. Even the game.
Yeah, can you
Plenty
show
of
me
Ohio games online.
Yeah, and also this correlates to the games online. I'm a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, so I watch plenty of Big Ten football, plenty of it, and that's going to be starting next week, which I'm really excited for. But I watch plenty of Big Ten football play. Okay, I watched Nebraska play Ohio State. The list goes on and on and on. I never saw when Baron Browning was at Ohio State play outside linebacker like Denver is trying to force feed him down our throats, playing outside linebacker in Denver.
And what did you see? What did you see? What does the film show? And I'm going to leave a link, and you don't believe us, you can look at the film yourself.
The film shows a guy that is lost on an island. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. He's not a consistent pass rush from each and every down. I believe Malik Reed was a better consistent outside linebacker, his running mate in the first quarter, than what you saw from fucking Baron Browning and the all Hall of Fame worthy Nick Burrito, which I said was going to be an absolute disaster, and he was an absolute disaster against the Cowboys.
Yeah, Nick who? Nick who? Who?
Yeah, Nick who? Nick
what?
who?
Yeah, who? I haven't seen anybody yet. So,
but also what you saw in that game was the Cowboys beating themselves, giving Baron Browning the opportunity to make some of those plays, and he had a few good plays here and there, but they weren't consistent. And then on that sack, that spin around sack that everybody's just hyping up as the next Von Miller 2015 Super Bowl play. Let me tell you something. You do realize during that 2015 Super Bowl run, they had 2 guys in the interior, and they had a rotation of guys in the interior that no one wants to give credit where credit is due, with guys like Walker, Sylvester Williams, Smith, Malik Jackson, and Derek Wolfe that collapsed that interior. It wasn't even Cam Newton in that Super Bowl didn't even get through his first read without that pressure. And then Von Miller, it was just, it was bound to happen.
Well, it was instantaneous. It wasn't like what we saw last week with the Cowboys, where you got 2 guys wide open and you refuse to throw the football. That's on you, buddy.
Well, yeah, and a lot of this had to do with Cooper Rush holding onto the ball too long and not throwing it to the easy dump passes that were.
Should get sacked. Yeah, he should get sacked.
Yeah, exactly, and that had a lot. That had a lot to do. And again, that had a lot to do with how shitty our linebackers are. And I want to get into this Joe Schobert signing because me and you haven't really talked about it publicly.
Yeah. I'm going to put that on because we're going to talk about it's a bigger picture than Browning.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I'm going to get a little off. Then we're going to get back. But before we get into that, I was saying to you off camera, I was saying to you, I don't mean any disrespect to you. But I said, it's just really mind-blowing to me that, I encouraged you because I know You are fantastic at evaluating players. Absolutely. And you should have it. That you have your own income and you have your own, it's not, but you have a really, you should be paid. Really. Somebody in the NFL really should bring you in. You have all your picks. And I said, we need to go lower rounds. I said, not obvious first, none of this stuff, but we'll do later rounds. All your later rounds became gems. They're all just raving about them in camps around of course, the Broncos can't get these. This draft to me, except for the guy you like, they didn't want to talk to the one. I call it the guys that are picked when Elway walks out of the room. The later picks, these first round, this whole, and they're building statues to George Payton, right? These earlier rounds seem to be a complete disaster. What for the Broncos, which doesn't surprise us, but what really just amazes me is how you have more wherewithal, I would say, when it comes to player personnel than in your pinky. Then a whole bunch of morons they got that should have been let go at Dove Valley. I'm just telling you, just sitting back, it just blows my mind, how bad they are over there. And then you got these Kool-Aid drinking Jim Jones doesn't even have anything on these people. Just clapping bad, worst Broncos since the AFL days. And just mindless clapping of seals, wanting their fish or whatever, just anyway, I just had to get that out there. So let's get back to the Browning thing. And did you have something you want to say to that?
Well, what I have to say to that is I appreciate it, but there's still plenty of things I can get better at. I'm not going to sit in it,
Well, man, you're hitting all cylinders. And I think that drives them crazy because it's just like, guy does know what he's talking about.
I appreciate the congratulations, but I appreciate it, but there's plenty of ways I could still get better in my film reviews. But that being said, the reason why I hit on all cylinders in the later rounds is because I actually take time out of my regular life to look at these players in a detailed, oriented way. When I watch a football game, ladies and gentlemen, I don't look at it as your typical brainwashed Kool-Aid drinking fan. Okay, that mindlessly cheats every play, every highlight reel that the 8 other channels put out there. I look at it at a different point of view. I look at it with footwork, with hand placements on defense and offensive line play. I look at get off for outside linebackers, receivers. I look at routes run. I go back, ladies and gentlemen, I watched the fucking Cowboys game, and so did this man. We watched that game multiple times. We just don't sit there and, oh, wow, we got our conclusion. This is how we got our conclusion. We watched the game one time on the Game Pass. That's all we did. No, we watch it multiple times. And I showed you, getting back to the game with Baron Browning, segueing back into it. You were like, there was one player you're like, is that Nick Burrito? And even you had to watch it over and over again. Is like, that's Nick Burrito, and he's getting absolutely pancaked on the opposite side of him.
He's being like just out to the neutral zone. Yeah, that guy's like taking him out to the next galaxy. It's bad.
And just to segue back to what you were, about the film and about the prospects. You could have had Pawan Winfrey, who is excelling in camp with the Browns. And you know what? It's not the talking. It's not they're talking about these players. I saw Jordan Davis in the preseason game and videos come out of camp. He's moving dudes 20 into the quarterback, 10 yards, 15 yards.
Yeah, you got laughed at by these 8 turd polishers. Let's just call them what they are. They're know-nothing turd polishers, for Elway. They laughed at you at that. And that's why we're in this situation. But we won last week. Yeah, because Dallas couldn't get their head out of their ass. You didn't dominate Dallas. That was clear. It was absolutely clear. There was no manhandling. They took themselves out of that game. But when they actually weren't committing a foul, they were just both offensive and defensively manhandling the Broncos. Anyway, go ahead.
No, you hit every cylinder right there. I wanted Jordan Davis. Could you imagine Jordan Davis and DJ Jones on this instead of
no, you can't have that.
You can't have that.
Yeah, this isn't the Denver. This isn't the Denver Broncos. This is the John Elway run Denver Broncos.
I'm looking at Evan Neal. I sent you another video of a guy who I said Evan Neal was the best prospect in this draft. Not Aiden Hutchinson, not Travon Walker. I said, if you want to, I get it. The Lions they got Penei Sewell and Taylor Decker, two booking great left and right tackle. So I get the Aiden Hutchinson pick. He's a hell of a player.
Imagine them going for that. Yeah.
Oh, I know. But Evan Neal, even in the preseason game, they're running plays right behind him, and Barkley's getting 10 to 15 yards per pop every run play on his side. And what they're building in New York, I think that's something that Russell Wilson's going to look at here down the line I think he's starting to realize something here in Denver. But that being said, I wanted Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska, who went in the second round, looked excellent in the preseason game for the Eagles. Even in camp, he's looking pretty good. Going to take over a Hall of Fame center in Jason Kelsey, who actually isn't Lloyd Cushenberry that gets pushed back. He's actually a Hall of Fame center. He's actually a Tom Nalen type player, but you guys don't want that.
No, they don't. No.
Travis Jones is the big one for me because I was saying there's no way we're going to get Jordan Davis, Evan Neal, Cam Jurgens. The list goes on and on and on because we traded all of our draft capital and every fucking thing for a quarterback.
That's going to be a topic later on down the road, too. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I wanted Travis Jones from UConn, where did he go to?
Travis Jones, to the Ravens.
To the Ravens, who actually understand player development and offensive defensive line play.
They know a lot more than those 8 morons and those 8 turd polishers.
Eric Trickle was laughing at me when I wanted him, and these Mile High Narrative and even Locked On Narrative didn't even want Travis Jones, which is a travesty on their part.
Of course they did. They want bad players. Oh, Elway, what player do we want, Mr. Elway? Oh, yeah, Burrito. Yeah, Dulcich. Yeah,
Dulcich didn't even play, and he's been hurt almost this entire camp.
You can't make this stuff up. You guys are so horribly wrong. Yeah, okay.
They are. Travis Jones is probably going to be a starting caliber nose tackle in this league. And you guys just refuse. You guys refuse to get players like that, man.
Well, they're going to get all this is coming right down their way. But this Baron Browning thing, it really speaks to. You did a video on Schobert. Okay. What just before we get to Schobert, just what I'm saying is, why are we even going after Schobert? Oh, because you fucked up and you want to, what is it, Mr. Elway? You don't want to pay Chubb? Is that what it is? You might actually have to pay Chubb because guess what? We're paying for Russell Wilson and we're trying to figure out how we're going to possibly get a $250 million contract, on a guy who's on a team that isn't even ready for that kind of thing. So you got to go out and you got to get a Schobert. Okay, you did video on Schobert. I'll link that too. It is a train wreck into a dumpster fire. Go ahead.
No, I'll let you explain it. I can't.
It's just so bad. Simmons bad. It's Josie Jewell bad. It's all the above bad.
Alex Singleton bad. I think
Alex Singleton bad. Yeah, Alexander Johnson bad. It's all of it. It's just typical Elway. 6 years now, going on 7 of this bullshit.
Have these. Okay, I'm going to go into detail. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm going to go into detail because there's no video showing that you guys did film review. Yes, I did. I did it on Colby's player breakdown on my YouTube channel.
I'll link. I'll have all the links. Unlike all the others, we'll link.
I know, but I sent him clips of this, so he'll eventually, hopefully, put it on his channel when he gets the time. Because we don't get paid for this. We don't have 24 hours out of the day to fucking tweet about how Justin Simmons had an interception in the end zone, but actually dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Work. But anyway, when you're talking about Joe Schobert, I mean, it was play after play after play. They're running right at him. They're throwing at him. You have a 30-year-old power running back in Latavius Murray who slinks out between the guard and the center and does a drag route, and Joe Schobert does his best Justin Simmons impersonation, doesn't do the overhang.
Late to the party. Late to the party. Late to the party.
It's horrific. I cannot believe, and you're right. This is much bigger than these Joe Schobert and Brownie.
Mismanagement.
Fucked up. You have these 8 turd polishers. You have Elway, who is again, you guys still haven't been able to go at me with the whole go to denverbroncos.com and there's John Elway, director of player personnel /GM. Everybody refuses to hear that and doesn't want to hear it. Yeah, they probably skip over this part every time I mention it because they don't want to hear it. But when you're talking about this whole bigger thing than Baron Browning and Joe Schobert, Vic Fangio had it right. You had Kenny Young, who you brought over from the Von Miller trade, who was developing Baron Browning next to him. Those two worked so good hand to hand, and you saw it when I did film review against the Bengals, and you saw also them working hand in hand late in the season when Browning was starting to get his legs under him as a middle linebacker, which is his natural born position. And then you had Jonas Griffith under him. He was developing, and you could have had Jonas Griffith over for Young. But you guys do not want that, and Elway, you just don't want that, do you?
No, they cannot develop at the Denver Broncos.
They can't. No.
It's about mismanagement, moving players to where they do not belong because they've got some other agenda. I don't know what it, like I said, but you don't want to play Chubb, I guess. Oh, but we got Baron Browning. He's moving up. So you have to go out and get these bad guys like Schobert. It just never ends here. It's never going to end until we push all these Kool-Aid cheerleaders off to the side and start holding the front office accountable.
But we've been saying that for 6 years.
Worst Broncos since the AFL days. Eric,
me and you are the only people on. You got your fans that I get it. You guys don't want to deal with these fuckers. I totally get it. If I could have it your way, I wouldn't have to. I'm to the point where I just can't deal with these dumbasses anymore. But again, you have to understand something. Me and you are the pioneers of this fucking revolution that we're trying to hold this organization accountable.
Well, we're the resistance. We're the resistance to the bullshit.
Well, yeah, our base of operations in our mother's basement. Okay. You have these other fans that proclaim that, they're hardcore Denver Bronco fans, and every year they buy into the Kool-Aid.
No, they're just no.
You have to understand what's reality and what's not. You have to understand the difference. You have to understand the difference when you're getting lied to and bullshitted to, just like in the world today that we get bullshitted all the time. You have to know the difference between the two. You have to separate the two and think for yourself. That's what you have to do in today's
Well, that's why we provide the film. And it's not that cherry pick stuff. We show series after series after series after series of plays, so that it's not
bullshit. And it's bullshit that these fucking people get the all-22, and you guys have a resource that you can use for your advantage that can help the fans and have.
They'll show one clip.
Help educate them, but you don't want to do that because you get paid by the organization to cherry pick plays and spew out bullshit.
To polish turds.
We have to pay $70 fucking dollars or close to $80 out of our own income, out of our own shit. To try and get the all-22, but it's not working right now, so I have to make the best out of what I got.
Yeah, their job is to polish the turds. So they'll show one clip and base a narrative around that one clip. Yeah. They, and believe me, man, you talk about blinders, and there's a lot that we saw in that Dallas game. They do not want to talk about. They don't want to look at.
And training camp too.
Well, and and especially the starters, what videos came out of there, they're not going to be able to. That's not sustainable. You got away with one. Because the other team couldn't even line up on their side of the line of scrimmage. But when they actually didn't commit a foul, they didn't have any problem. There was no manhandling by the Broncos. It was, again, bumbling and stumbling by the other team. Now, we're going to be heading in to a storm because we and you, we were watching the Buffalo and the the Colts game. Okay, we watched it. We watched it, and there is you're not going to get rush. You're not going to get rush on this one. Case Keenum, I don't know if you ever heard of him. Case Keenum, I know probably some QB that you used to know. Trash. He's horrible. Well, I'll tell you what, he ain't going to miss those open receivers. And I saw with the Dallas game, going back to the Dallas game, they were gashing this defensive line and popping out big runs, big enough runs. I mean, they were good-sized pops. So between being able, and then they self-destructed at play action. Hey, I wanted to bring this up too. What we saw in this is really important. We saw Nathaniel Hackett's supposed to be running a West Coast zone blocking system. Every time they tried to run that on film, what we saw is it was a disaster. And they had to go into what you call more of your Kansas City Patriot, more of a power blocking type of a system.
It was more of the West Coast power run scheme.
What they were trying to run.
No, what they eventually had to go to that, they couldn't run the West Coast zone run scheme. So what they had to do was run the Shermer West Coast power run.
Yes, yes, Ruddy Shermer type. Yeah, because they offensively, the offensive line couldn't do it, which opens up the question. Well, what is it that is it this? Are the starters going to be doing this? I mean, what? It was confusing. It was kind of confusing, but also telling at the same time. Go ahead.
Well, also, now that you mention this, what I think it has a lot to do with? It's a mismatch of systems. Because
again.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a mismatch of systems. Now that you bring it up, and now that I think about it when you were explaining it, it's a spaghetti factory still. Because you have the Pat Shermer principles still in place, and then you have the Nathaniel Hackett principles that he brought over from Green Bay, who was not calling the fucking offensive plays. It was Matt LaFleur. I just want, again, people are spewing that too. But anyway, you have these mismatch of systems. So when you're learning the power run scheme and the zone running scheme, a lot of the time it's not going to mesh well together. It's going to have a lot of broken parts, dare I say. Again, and you saw also in that game the quick pass, which worked to the Broncos' advantage. But again, I want people to understand something. As a West Coast zone run principle, what you needed to rely on, and this is something that gets misconstrued. What the West Coast zone run principle is you run a lot of stretch plays and you run a lot of pulling of the guard plays to have the defense suck up, so then you can run that play action boot pass to try and get crossing routes over the top and get those deep shots, which I liked. I love that type of system because we grew up with it over the years in Denver with Kubiak, Shanahan, all these guys, and I get it. I get Shanahan and all the bullshit. But let me just say this. When we're going into the season, and in this game directly, when they were running those plays, those boot action plays, trying to get the quarterback to run a certain way, it looked like a la Pat Shermer with all these free runners that was getting Josh Johnson. And that's where I thought Josh Johnson struggled mightily, because all those free runners were in his face and he couldn't dump it off to a guy like Mike Boone in the flat, or he couldn't get an Albert O who was running an overhanging 10-yard crossing route over the middle. I guarantee you, and what we saw in camp, and this directly correlates to the game, what we saw in camp with that first string offensive line with Cushenberry, with Reisner and Bowles on the left side, even Calvin Anderson on the right. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, buyer beware, because that is something that is going to bite us in the ass, I fully believe.
Well, explain to how that Boone, the type of running back he is, and because they couldn't run that type of a system with the offensive line, they were trying to force him as a gap runner. But go ahead, gap runner. Go ahead and explain how that did not work out for the running back.
Well, because the offensive line wasn't able to really get to that second level. When you're running a power run scheme, also, I also, outside of Nate Moody, Lloyd Cushenberry, and maybe a Dalton Reisner on this team, you don't have those big body. You don't have the Gabe Jacksons, the Shaq Masons, the Patriot system that run that power gap scheme. You have more agile offensive linemen. And that is what worries me in terms of what I saw from the second string offensive line in terms of the running game. The pass protecting phase, I want to see what they do against Buffalo, because that's going to be a better test than what we did against us.
Oh, man.
We will get into that, but strictly talking about the systems, again, this is bigger than Nathaniel Hackett, bigger than George Payton. This has been going on even before those guys got here.
That's what I want to get into too.
Systems, putting it all together and hoping it works, and throwing spaghetti at the wall. Go ahead.
Yes, and that's the reason why the Broncos, that's the core reason why the Broncos have been the worst. It has very little to do with the quarterback itself. The quarterback it has the most to do with is the guy that used to play quarterback saying that, he can't get a quarterback like Case Keenum and a offensive coordinator like Kubiak. You can't put those two together.
No, not Kubiak, Bill Musgrave.
I know. Well, that's what I just said. I said he cannot get a Kubiak to go with his Case Keenum. He gets a Bill Musgrave, is what I'm saying. He doesn't know. And then Mike McCoy, that whole mess. Musgrave, the complete different system than the quarterback. Then it's bring in Fangio, and we're gonna be Kansas City now. It wasn't Fangio who wanted to be Kansas City. I'm just a defensive coordinator. Elway was keeping that. I am the offensive coordinator, head coach. I'm the final say from the Vance Joseph era. I can't run the defense and do this offense. So you run the defense. I'll take care of the offense. Joe Flacco, we're going to bring in Gary Kubiak. Well, I can't get it. I'm sorry. We're going to get you Rich Scangarello because we promised you Kubiak. So we need to at least put you in the right because we promised you.
But then they had to go beg the San Francisco to get Rich Scangarello.
Beg to get him because they screwed up. And this, I'm telling you, this front office is so screwed up. It goes to the Browning issue. It goes to what we're talking about. The offensive line is a mismatch of all kinds of things. They're struggling to get. Okay, and now you got Buffalo, man. Let me tell you, their front seven. I don't know if that was, like I said, I'm not as well versed on the players. I don't know if that was their starters or their second string playing the Colts. Offensive line and starters were playing. And let me tell you, people, you may not know anything about the Colts, but I can tell you they have one of the better offensive lines in the National Football League, and they had their hands full with that Buffalo defense. And I'm not even sure if that was the second string defense. It's a sight to behold. You want to sit there and tell me, Kool-Aid drinkers, top 5 defense? You're going to see what a top 5 defense really is this week coming up. You're going to see it. And these struggles that the Broncos have with containing runs and stuff like that, so you don't even know. This is another level coming at you. And let me say something. You can laugh at Case Keenum all you want, but one thing, he isn't going to miss targets. He isn't going to miss the read. He's going to see those wide open receivers. And Josh Allen, if they play him, I just don't think that the Broncos. We were talking about this too. If I was running the Broncos and I got stuck with this lemon of a team, and we're in this preseason, and granted, I don't want to talk about the defense, right? Just let me talk about the offense. I cannot put the starters out there. I cannot put Russell Wilson out there against this defense because the chances of getting him injured and killed are like way up here. So I would assume that the Broncos cannot play their stars, worried that Russell Wilson will end up getting killed in this preseason game. Your take on that?
Well, my take on that is I think what you're going to get in this game is an ass whooping. In terms of the line of scrimmage on both sides, it's going to be all the Browns last year when we went into Cleveland and everybody, we're going to
I think you're right.
you're going to get that's what I see in this game. You know, I agree with you with your sentiment. I just there's a part of me where I do think the starters will play, but there's also a part of me that I do not think the starters will play.
Well,
because
no, there's the Elway arrogance. There's the Elway arrogance.
yes, absolutely. And this defensive line for the Bills is they go 3-5 deep. I mean,
It's a sight to behold.
It is, you know what, and you're not going to get the Dallas Cowboys with the Buffalo Bills. These guys are going to be so prepared and so technically sound in their tackling formations and their sets. They're not going to be offsides. They're not going to have 21 penalties like the Dallas Cowboys did. These guys are going to – Sean McDermott and that organization has built a culture there that has been so sustainable over the past, 4 years, that that's what Denver used to be. Okay,
I know.
I'm going to get back to. That is the type of organization I want to get back to. Is player development is no bullshit. We were talking about this was also off topic about the whole spin the turd. Do you have the Buffalo Bills trying to sell this turd? These guys are a fucking Super Bowl caliber team, and I guarantee.
For real.
Yeah,
For real.
That's why Von Miller went there, ladies and gentlemen, because he saw that defensive line, and he's going to get back to what the Rams helped him do, and now he's going to get back to the old Von Miller. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen, because when you have Ed Oliver in the middle, when you have all Gregory Rousseau, AJ Epinesa from Iowa, who I wanted, everybody laughed in my face for that one, and he's kicking ass in Buffalo right now. You know, Terrell Edmonds, the linebacker, Matt Milano, who's a great cover. They get it. They understand. Even, you know what, this goes back to the offensive side of the ball. You were talking about the inconsistencies by the Buffalo Bills offensive line against the Colts defensive line. I saw that too. But the one thing that I saw out of this offensive line that I didn't see from the Denver's offensive line is series after series after series, they weren't hurting themselves. And that's what I'm taking away from the Denver Broncos game in terms of the inconsistency factor. Yes, the Buffalo Bills did have inconsistencies throughout their offensive line. But I'm telling you what, right here, right now, I do not think that's as big of an issue as what I saw from Denver's second. Quinn Bailey against this defensive line, oh my God, Josh Johnson's going to get killed. He's going to get killed. I feel so bad for him. Same with Rippon. They're gonna get clobbered.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. There was one area that the Broncos may get a break in, that special teams. I don't know what was going on with Buffalo special teams, but it didn't look good at all. I don't know what it was. Or maybe the Colts special teams is just that much better. I don't know.
I think what the Colts have over the Buffalo Bills is, I think they go a little bit deeper than the Buffalo Bills. I think they have more. The Colts, you know, everybody wants to laugh at the Colts are going after Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan and all these quarterbacks. They don't really give a shit about the quarterback. They would rather invest all their time and money into Quentin Nelson, this offensive line, that defense with DeForest Buckner. What a great trade and great signing.
Well, they're gonna get a good chunk of this too coming their way.
Oh yeah, what I believe that you get from the Colts, what you don't see from the Buffalo Bills, I think are a lot more top heavy in terms of talent, and they have that second, third depth there. But what the Colts is, yes, they're top heavy, but they go 2, 3, 4, 5 deep with developing players that they're drafting, developing.
Because they got a system and they're feeding the system. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
And that goes back to what we're saying about the Broncos, about spaghetti on the wall, why the offensive line can't do this. They have to do this. They have to do the other. Doesn't help the running back. You know, you got away with one, in my opinion. You got away with one in Dallas.
Dallas gave you one, Denver, with the fucking Minnesota Vikings a la 2021 preseason.
We're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, that right there, I'm going to get off. I'm going to pound my chest. I'm going to go tell Kansas City, we're going to dethrone you now. No, who's doing that? Only people doing that are super desperate teams.
Yeah, you don't have the, even I'm watching Hard Knocks again. Their latest episode came out, and I'm watching, dude, they put out their first string offensive line. Okay. And this is against the Falcons. And I get it. The Falcons they're not very good. But when you have Dan Campbell and that culture that they're building with the line, I love watching the process of building cultures and all that. I'm watching Hard Knocks with the Lions and how Dan Campbell and this culture, they empower their players, but they're also disciplined in the way they do things. And you know what? You can shit on the Lions all you want, but I'm telling you right now, when you have a guy in Dan Campbell in that front office who work in collaboration together and actually have a vision on what they want to do, that offensive line and defensive line for the fucking Lions, oh man, dude, I love Taylor Decker. I love Jonah Jackson.
You like the direction they're going.
Oh my God, Dan Campbell is one of my favorite coaches in the league. I just love this dude. I would play for him and I'd run through a wall for that organization and that guy. The way they have turned, it is a complete 180 from what they used to be. Oh my God. We're the new Lions, Browns, Raiders, and Buccaneers back.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Denver Broncos are the new Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the 1970s, not the current. They're the Buccaneers of the 1970s. That's where all your has-beens and used-to-bes go. I mean, even if you think about it, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of grief for this, but even Russell Wilson coming here is kind of along the line of that 70s Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, you're kind of getting there in your career. Nobody's really wants you. Yeah, the Denver Broncos, Schobert, that's probably a pretty good place for you to go. Just yesterday's used-to-be's, has-beens. We're here. We have arrived. We are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of the 70s. Oh, they only won one game. Yeah, but we sure are working on that as far as I'm concerned. We're working on that.
What do all those teams have in common? The early Lions, the 90s Raiders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Browns. What do they have? In the Broncos now into that fucking group? Let's add that fifth. What do they all have in common? They're desperate teams. And that Russell Wilson trade was a sign of desperation from that organization.
Well, it's always last. It's always last Hail Mary.
But again, it's a sign of desperation because when you have people like Wanu coming onto my channel and your channel and trying to say that we need to shut the fuck up and that we don't know shit about ownership.
Minnesota last year.
Yeah, a la Minnesota last year. Ladies and gentlemen, I know bullshit when I see it, and bullshit does sell in today's world, in today's NFL. Bullshit sells. So you know what? If you want to continue to go along that company line and that bullshit line, more power to you. But again, me and you are going to continue to come out here. This weekend, we'll put out film. We'll put out the fucking no bullshit shit when these 8 other platforms like ranking channels and these turd polishers and these prostitutes won't say anything outside of, oh, wow, the receivers looked great. The corners looked amazing. The special teams looked good. Nathaniel Hackett.
The corners did not look amazing.
Well, they're going to try and sell the turd.
That's true. They'll polish the turd.
Nathaniel Hackett's game management was so superb over Fangio's. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys can go along with that bullshit all you want. But what I'm going to do and what this guy's going to do, and we're going to work in collaboration and trying to give you guys the best film possible. And we're going to put out this film review this weekend when Case Keenum and you guys shit him out of town. And now he's playing for a better organization. You don't think he's going to be fired up like he was with the Browns? Holy shit.
You ain't getting rushed next week.
No, you ain't getting rushed. No, you're not. You're not even getting that fucking offensive line for the Cowboys either. I don't think you are. And you're definitely not getting that defensive line for the Cowboys. You are getting a defensive line in the Buffalo Bills that are so deep that they can have Ed Oliver be out 2 weeks and they'll be just fine. They'll be just fine.
Because why? They develop, they've developed players. They
have set a culture and foundation there that has helped develop players. And that
they didn't change their system and change it again, change an offensive, change it. Oh, we're just a quarterback away. Oh, God. It's like it's so embarrassing.
Hold on, I'll let you get on your roll. Players want to flock to teams like the Bills, the Buccaneers, the Steelers, the Ravens. Where's all these players that you people were saying that we're going to flock here because of Russell Wilson? Where are you? Where players
Gregory. We got Gregory. We got Gregory.
Okay. Okay, you paid $70+ million to?
It was a good deal. It was a good deal. It was such a good deal. It was so great. It was so good. Such a good deal.
Has he been playing in camp, or has he been trying to start talking when he's in his shorts and shit and doing?
Oh, when he's in street clothes. Yeah.
But he can't be on the field, proving his worth, supposedly, right?
No, he's in the hot tub with Dulcich.
Oh God, what a terrible pick!
You can't even. Like I said, you can't make this stuff up.
I know. It's sad. It's sad to see how far this team has fallen. You guys,
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's sad and embarrassing. We don't. These people proclaim that they're fans, and these online platforms. We're Colts beat writers. We're Cowboys beat writers. We get paid by 9 News, and we get the mac and cheese and ribs.
We get paid by Sports Illustrated and John Elway. And
the difference between you guys and people like me and you and a few other fans out there, we're Pat Bowlen Bronco fans, and we don't put up with shit.
Well, old school. We're old school Bronco fans. I'm not into this AF's worse since the AFL days, Broncos. I'm not in that camp. Okay.
I want better. And you know what? Hold on. This isn't. You know what? I got what I have to do personally, and what I have to work on. It is, instead of worrying about what the fans say and these polishing turd people say.
Turd polishers.
What I have to put more of my focuses on is in film. And I've been doing that. And they fear that shit. They fear it. And they do not want to touch these film reviews that I'm putting out.
Well, why do you think Justin Simmons dropped so much? We're putting film out there. They're seeing film. They're going on that side of the field. There's no way they're going to give Justin Simmons, who's just basically Elway's spokesperson,
those film
spokesperson,
were exploding. You don't think that it was just fans looking at that film review?
Which film review?
It was players around the league that dropped him 40 spots because of the film reviews I did that made him come out and trying to defend himself.
Yes, that's what I told you. I said, you don't need to come here cursing and stuff like this. You just keep making film.
That's all I'm doing.
Like spitting cyanide at him at every frame. It's just like when you put out that you put out that Burn Brownie. I would encourage the Buffalo Bill fans to go check out that Baron Brownie. Go check it out. Go check out how bad our defensive front is, or our backups anyway. So
terrific. Also, look at our linebackers too.
Linebacking, yeah, and look at the cushion that they're giving everybody.
Oh God!
Just take a look for yourself. I'd encourage anybody to go out and check that out. Yeah, that's what they fear. They don't, and for us, it's holding this organization accountable.
Yep.
We're not a part of 8 paid-for platforms, Well, give us our talking points, John Elway.
Does it look like I'm in a studio that gets paid? I'm in my fucking house.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have, our only agenda is, we have an agenda. Me and him are in a conspiracy, and if you're not in a conspiracy, you should get into one. That's my recommendation. Me and him are in a conspiracy, and the conspiracy is to hold that front office that should have been removed a long time ago accountable.
Yep. I agree. It should have been a physical cleaning.
What we see on film, we know it's going to come back to bite the Broncos. There's no ifs, there's no ands, maybe mights about it. When the big dogs come to play, it's going to show itself. You can't get away from physics, the law of physics. You got away with one with Dallas because of their inability to be able to play the game without committing a foul.
Well, you know what? And you were talking about this. This is going to go into the Buffalo game, an actual real team, an actual team that gets it. We were talking about the turd polisher himself, who gets paid by Elway, Colin Coward, and we were talking about yesterday off camera. We were talking about how he had his preseason rankings: Buffalo 1, Denver 2, or whatever. Denver 2.
It's a media stunt.
They're going to hype up this. They're trying to hype. That's what the NFL does. They're hyping up this game. And once Denver goes in and gets an ass whooping in the trenches, they're going to be shocked. Oh, these people are going to, oh, well, it's just a preseason game. Well, you guys said we were going to the Super Bowl last week against the Cowboys. So I don't want to hear any of that bullshit. I'm not going to hear any
they'll shovel bullshit. They'll if that goes down the way we think it's going to go down, you're going to earn your money polishing turds. I'm glad it's not me. I'm glad I'm not getting paid to polish turds. So we're not going to beat our chest. What we're going to do, calmly look at the film. If this thing turns out to be a disaster, we're going to calmly look at the film and point out what went wrong. That's simply what we do.
And I think there's going to be a lot of that this weekend. Just my opinion.
It looks that way. It really looks that way. Yeah, it looks like there's a buzzsaw coming.
Oh God. You know what?
Like I said, I don't think they're gonna want a chance putting Russell Wilson out there. I really don't.
Well, now in the NFL, you don't have 4 preseason games; you have 3. So that second game, I would not be shocked if the Buffalo Bills play their starters, because you only have a limited time to do preseason games. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if the Buffalo Bills play their starters a couple series. I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, that will give Bronco fans an excuse there. So
okay, and
yeah.
I mean, you have these other teams that are playing their backups against certain starters that are playing, and they're kicking their ass. I mean, it shouldn't be different because it's the Broncos. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Buffalo has no love for the Denver Broncos. We'll make that clear.
Yeah, Josh Allen, and just look into the Chad Kelly thing. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I think the Chad Kelly thing is a good starting point.
Yeah.
It was all Chad Kelly, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, anything else?
Nope. That's it for me today.
All right. So I don't get to watch the game. I'll get to listen to it. You'll give me play-by-play. Then I guess I'll probably beat Saturday. Then Sunday I'll have to watch it over and over and over and over again. And so I think what we should do is the game will go on Saturday. I think we should have our next broadcast after I've had a chance to review all the footage.
That works for me.
Yeah, and then I can, we'll correlate notes, and then we'll put something comprehensive together.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. So it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, strap in your seatbelts, because I think things are going to get real this weekend.
I think we're heading for some turbulence in this.
Yep.
In this ride here.
Denver, we got a problem. So.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Right. You too. Bye.
Bye.